Welcome to the point-by-point analysis of the creation-evolution debate between Ken Ham and Bill Nye. I'd like to begin with Bill Nye's statement that there's no difference between observational and historical science. No difference in the science that proves that I'm breathing and the science that would examine evidence for the origin of man. According to Bill Nye, it's all CSI. Nye says you find evidence that gives you clues, you examine those clues, you trust them, you embrace them, and then you move to convict the guy. Well, the only problem is in the courtroom, the guy's not always convicted. Well, think about a courtroom. Sometimes the jury agrees with the prosecutor, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes the guy's convicted, and sometimes he isn't. In a courtroom, you'll have people that like the defendant, and they will hear evidence and they'll, or lack thereof, and they'll assume that proves that he's innocent. But other folks who hate the defendant hear that same evidence and they will think, well, that certainly convicts him. Historical science is a lot like that. In historical science, just like the courtroom, it's possible to interpret evidence differently. It's also possible that your prejudice could cause you to look at that same evidence and come to an incorrect conclusion. A scientist that Bill Nye that would refuse to admit this really isn't a scientist. He's not being scientific. In his opinion, his interpretation is right. His mind is made up. Don't confuse him with any evidence that might suggest a contrary view. And that's my analysis of the first point of the debate.